Hello there, and today is another day. And what a day it's going to be. Puss in Boots already for the second time in the morning, having her food there on her little kitty stand. But today is about finishing this 57 Chevy. But before I could do that, I got a big mess to clean up. Big mess. As you can see, I got to put the welders away. I got a lot of junk that has to be put back where it belongs. I got all this mess out here I got to clean up. Everything that you see here has got to go somewhere other than where it is. Because this is now finished. I actually added a beam underneath. But because now this is done, I can now finish this. And she's in agreement with me. She's coming out here to give me her tail up, saying, get started. But I also have to move the frame out of the way because I need to get that big balloon. Basically, it is a portable spray booth, and it's got to come off the shelf, and the only way that happens is when I use that machine with a pallet. So I got to get even my engine and engine run stand out of the way, all this stuff. I got to get the two trucks out of the way. I just have a whole big mess that's got to be cleaned up and moved so that I can get that and set it up out here underneath the canopy, because that actually takes up the whole length of this platform. It actually passes the roof line probably by, I don't know, 5 feet or so, 6 feet. So it takes up the whole thing, and there's a lot of work to be done. I got to even clean all that stuff out from the bed of it. The car is ready for paint. It's been sitting for, I don't know, 6 months or so. So in between that, I would definitely check out the primer, make sure that it was still nice and smooth and nothing shows through, and that the primer is cured. Not just dried, but cured. So not only that, I got to clean up this mess. Yep, this is my workbench for all that stuff, and it's just got to get put away. A lot of stuff got to get put away and moved. So throughout the course of the day, which is probably going to take me the day, believe it or not, because I got to safely move this frame. I don't want nothing happening to it, because there is no room for me to get in here with the machine to snatch that up. So as I go along, I will chime in and show you with just what it takes and how much I cleaned up so that I can move on that, and the weather is still good. I'm really happy with that. That took longer than I was expecting. I really didn't have a time frame, but being held up by a couple of things and couples of people's, waiting on certain items. It's not 100% done. I got to get the ramps done, but I did use it actually the other day, but that's not what this video is about. It is about this car. So I'm going to get started and I will be back, so stand by. Okay, I am halfway there. You can see all this mess is gone. I actually started taking the old plastic and paper out of the car too. Out here is cleaned up. Yeah, got rid of all that, put it places, and some of the stuff that I know I'm going to need for this trailer I placed on top, because now I have to move this out of the way and put it off to the side over there. My next challenge is going to be to move this carefully, and I'm not sure where or how I'm going to make that happen without scratching it or damaging it in any way. But at least I've gotten this far, and once that's moved out of the way, then I have to attack that table right there and clean up this mess, because it's a big mess. So I will be back as soon as I have that safe and sound somewhere else so that I can get that out of there. So stand by. Okay, I'm back, and I got a lot more of it cleared up. The car is now empty, and what I am trying to do very carefully is to swing this frame in that direction towards the car because of the spray booth being up there. So what I have came up with hopefully works. I moved it a little bit, took a little bit of time to move it a little bit. I'm going to take you off the stand and show you what I've come up with for doing it by myself. And I took my stands that I made once upon a time. Those crates had a 2x4s, so you can actually put a car on top of that, make it a nice comfortable height to work with. And though you see a jack and a jack on top of the jack, it's just that this one here was given to me many moons ago, and the reason why they gave it to me because it didn't work. And I had it rolled off to the side underneath the table, and now it's going to roll into the metal pile and get scrapped because it is junk. The reason why I put a bottle jack on top of that so that I can get it up there high enough to put the rotors and part of the lower control arms on there so that hopefully it keeps it balanced. That's what I'm getting at. And I know as the frame turns, I believe that will allow the same thing. I don't want to scratch it, damage it, or whatever. But in the meantime, I'm going to creep this thing more towards the car. As you can see, it's empty. I even pulled the old paper and plastic out of it, and I will recover it. And once I slide this thing over, hopefully far enough, then I'll be able to bring my machine in here and get that thing down and out, and then put this back where it was, out of the way. So I'm going to put you back on the stand, and hopefully I get to move this without creating any damage, because I'd probably cry if that happens. Sign right there, Power Play Garage. Follow us on youtube.com at Power Play Garage. That's right, there it is. Slowly going to creep it. Might have to help it a little bit. Little persuasion. Move the jack stand out of the way. I'm going to take my time. That kind of helped. So, being a one-man band, this is how it has to happen. Let's see, I wonder if I have enough room now. I'll go a little bit more. That's the plan. A little bit more. Just a little bit. I think that should do it. Yeah, I think there's enough space there. Put that there in case the jack settles down. Okay. So, that's the plan. It worked. Hallelujah. Bringing the machine in here and getting the spray booth down right there. So I'm going to have you on standby, and once I have everything back and I actually start to put that up, which will be outside the building there, then I will zoom you back in. So stand by. Well, it is the next day. The car is out of the building. It's been sitting outside for a moment, long enough for me to get that plastic set up and to roll out the portable spray booth and have two of the blowers out of three ready to rock and roll. And hopefully Mother Nature will be kind, because it hasn't been so far, and allowing this thing to go up. Turn on the switch. I'm going to hold this back. And 37 feet. I think it's more like close to 40. So the back section, where you would keep your sprayables, inside the booth, you'd have a little table set up actually in there, is the part that gets wet. So I really don't want anything getting wet. As you can see, this thing is going up. And then I'm going to bring that metal framing and bring it inside the booth so that it doesn't have to run all the time. I've done this many times, and I even tie up some of the tops here. I tie them up to the wherever I can reach, whether it's a 2x4 or whatever, and that also helps keep it up in place. What I'm going to do now is drag it this way a little bit. Yep. Yep, look at that. I think it does it in like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And you really shouldn't be using it if it's windy out. But don't have much of a choice. I want to take advantage of the nice cool weather. So in the meantime, as I walk around and help this thing rise, I'm going to put you on the stand. Oh, yes. Come on now. Well, I'm going to get right back with you when it's stood up and doing its thing. Okay, it is standing tall. Take you inside of it. You get a good idea just how much room is in here. And the next objective is to get that white cage that's there in here by myself. So that's my next attempt. I'm going to put you on standby so I can get her done. Okay, well, I'm back. And the cage, the support, whatever you want to call it, the rack, is now inside the spray booth. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang some lights before I bring the car in. And once I have the ones up above hung, then I'll roll the car in and then start setting up the other lights, the LED panels that I have that'll go down the side. So I'm going to get started on that, and until then, stand by. Okay, the car is in. The light, only the upper lights I put in before I roll the car in place. As you can tell, there's a lot of room on both sides of the car, which then leaves me plenty of room in the front for the rest that'll get set up. I might do it in parts because there are inner panels, a lot of small parts, things like that. But just to give you an idea just how much space I have, yep, there's a very comfortable amount of room. And this rack in here serves as two purposes. One is so that I can hang lights up, which I have 2-foot square lights that are LED, and I will hang them here on the side, on both sides of the booth. And the second purpose that this is to where in case something happens, and at night actually I turn off the blowers and I let this unit, just the actual spray booth, relax on the cage. I've done it many a times. I didn't want to get caught with not having something to protect the car, especially after painting it, if I was to lose power or something. And then the other things I've done is I added the rope, and there's 3 points on either side that you can do this too if you have the ability to do it. So I do, and right now I have 2, one here in the end and one in the middle. I have to add the one in the back, and the same thing on the opposite side. I have that one up there, and then there's one in the middle, kind of hard to see with the ladder in the way, but then I got to add the one at the end. And then she just walked around in this Puss in Boots. Her tail's up, she's happy. She gave me the approval. So I'm sure she's going to want to get fed again. Cat eats more than I do, but that's alright. But that's to give you the lowdown. I have heavy paper I got to put down. I got the lights to set up before I can even start, finish prepping and taping off the car and do what I got to do before I spray it, and then of course bring in other parts that got to be sealed and the base coat before I put the candy on, and that's going to be fun. And I got filters to put on, and I have a vacuum system to pull out through the filters so it keeps everything clean, the environment. So that's got to get set up, and once I do that, then I'll chime in and show you. And here's the outside view looking in. It's pretty cool. It's really neat when all the lights and everything are set up. And the only thing I can hope for that the wind just dies down some. It's a little bit too much, but it works. And once I'm ready with that, I will zoom back in, but in the meantime, stand by. Okay, I just shut it down, and you're going to see the spray booth relax. I have all 6 points tied up, so I'll show you exactly what happens and how far it goes. It doesn't take long for it to collapse some. This is the inside. You can see that's where the cage comes in. And you'll see that nothing will touch the car. It'll just relax on top of the cage. But as you can see, it is being supported by the 3 ropes on this side and the 3 ropes on this side. That helps reduce the weight on that inner cage there. So it helps keep the thing up in the air, and then when I go and plug it back in, it blows up a lot quicker. So that's that for today. Tomorrow, I actually have 8 lights in here now, as you can see. I have a couple more I want to put in, space them out. Another one in the back, because I have other items in here that got to be painted. But I'll do that tomorrow. So tomorrow's another day. And until then, I'll see you then. Alright, it's the next day and I'm back. And I have all my lights set up. There's 6 LED panels on this side and 6 on the opposite side. And I really don't count the 5 that are up above, but it does help. Nevertheless, it is pretty well lit up in here. I have a couple more I could put up. I might and I might not. We'll see how it goes. But just to give you an idea of all the lighting I set up so that I can see what the heck I'm doing, I might add another one here on the top, so over there, and then another one on that side. I believe I have 2 more, if not definitely 1 more. I got 1 more at least. So on one of the sides I'll do it. I'll put it up. So that's that for today. The venting I have, the vacuum system that will pull all the spray, say, out of here. That I'm going to set up next. And once I set that up, then you'll see what's going on. But until then, stand by. Okay, it's the next day, and it's about Puss in Boots taking a nap under the trailer. Look at her. She looks so cozy. she's so cute. There she comes. Yeah, she probably wants me to pet her. I know she ate enough, so it ain't the case. But nevertheless, I'm going to show you the outcome here of my next move. So, I'm getting a little dizzy here. But this is part of the venting system that I purchased. And actually it is ventilation. This is called, I think they call this an elephant trunk. Might be hard to see what it is because I don't have the spray booth up and running, don't need to, but to give you an idea. So when I ordered it, they don't give you a size of what this thing is, not at all. But I have the ability to make it bigger, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it bigger to fit over the existing filter venting thing. And that thing at the end wraps around that ventilation. And then there's a tube that mounts to the end of this. And then you can pipe it wherever you want. And it's filtered at that point, so it's not like there's fumes or paint coming out. It's just part of a system I think is pretty neat. So I actually have 2 of those. So I'm going to have one come out over here, and then I'm going to have one here in the middle in the front. Or if I change my mind, which very well could happen, maybe I'll put 2 of them in the front. Kind of split the opening into thirds, and where the third mark would be, that's where I would put them to create the vacuum that I'd be looking for. And as you can see, with this thing, no air running through it, completely collapsed, nothing is touching the car at all. And yesterday I showed you I had 12 of these lights. Now I have 13. I put the other one right there, which would be more than enough to cast light over that side. It's the last one that I have. I do have 2 other ones, but I have them hanging, and I could take one down if I really need it. I doubt that I'll need it, and I would just put it over here, or just take this one and put it up there and move that one over, shuffle the lights around, and go from there. But I don't know, we'll see what happens. But when this is up, there are 2 vented areas where also are filtered, and there's the room. And I think I might have mentioned yesterday, this is where you would set your paints up in here, and it's at least 4 feet wide, which is plenty, the full width of the whole unit. And there is a vent hose where the third blower blows air into, so it fills this up with a lot of air that could be drawn through these filters here where you see these holes. I have the filters off so that I can clean them, make sure they're nice and clean. And this brings in filtered air, which would be pulled by those 2 new vents that I got. I have to see how that works. The very first time I ever used this, I had a couple of fans set up in here that would push the air to a bigger fan that would be over there, and without having this cage in here, because I had this thing set up in my building, it actually created a vacuum to where this whole spray booth was getting drawn in. It was starting to collapse because the amount of air I was pulling out and not bringing in enough air. So it was quite interesting. So I had to monitor it, regulate it, and it worked out really well. Now that I've basically improved the system, I wanted it to be the best it's going to be. So I'm going to be rolling out on the floor here, taping it down. Once that's all done and set up and I got the car cleaned and I have a plan, I'll basically zoom back in, but this will definitely be the end of this video. I don't want to drag these videos out too long, and I've been cutting them short, shortest I can, and it's to hope that people will watch them, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, make a comment, whether good or bad. It'll be all good. It could be corrective criticism, but I'm doing what I do, and hopefully people will enjoy it. And in some cases, some of the videos I put out is to teach somebody how to either fix something like the BMW, and maybe how to paint. Who knows? I'm not the best painter in the world, no way. I'm not trying to say that, but I do enjoy doing it. I enjoy doing this kind of stuff. So if there's anything that could help you, that's great. And if not, toss the rest away. It's all good. I get it. So until all this stuff is down and I bring up the next video where I'll be starting to paint this car, try to get something done. But thanks for watching.